Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith, Silent Bob, and all those terrible Jay and Silent Bob type pictures, man. You're listening to Drop the Mic, the only podcast that I listen to that I'm not a part of. Every podcast I listen to, I usually talk on it, but not fucking Drop the Mic. That's where I'm like, let me hear what the boys have to say. And now, we drop the mic.
Dada?
She's mine.
Dada.
I'm hers. What?
Dada?
You?
We were scum. Trash. Refuse that didn't fit into the system. Until someone had the bright idea of recycling us to serve science.
Dada.
The odds are not in our favor. But when my work is accomplished, when perfection is achieved, then what? Fly away?
Dada?
I know I look like a witch.
You're foxy and you know it.
This mission can't turn our shame into some type of glory. I can't do this flying around no more.
You lied to us. You knew it.
The sensation, moving backwards. Even though we're moving forwards, getting further from what's getting nearer.
There is nothing to fear. Everything's gonna be fine.
Are you sick? You realize nothing is ever gonna go inside us.
Break the laws of nature. You'll pay for it.
Welcome back to our humble San Diego podcast. This is Drop the Mic, and we are your hosts, Wesley Swanson and James Warny. This week, we keep our Robert Pattinson theme moving with a mini review of the 2018 space flick High Life. But before we discuss the film further, let's get warmed up, shall we?
And now for a special news report. Brought to you by Drop the Mic.
James, how are you? What's up?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Can't
complain. How about you?
Glad to hear it, man. I'm pretty solid. Kind of tired from the work life, but
Yes, definitely. Adulting.
yes, always happy to hop on with you, gentlemen, minus Ryan this week. What's up,
Yeah.
Ryan?
Miss you, man.
Pop culture news. What do you have on that front for us this week?
All right. So Super Mario Brothers, the movie, has passed the $700 million mark in just 13 days of its initial release. So that's a huge step from what it was last week, was 500 million and some change. So they're moving steadily through the box offices. And I don't really see it slowing down that much. Probably it'll taper off, within the next couple of weeks. But there's no doubt in my mind that this could hit $1 billion or get really close to it. But I think it's a good movie. Like I said before, it's a fun one. Check it out if you haven't. Go to the theaters. I'm sure it'll come to streaming at some point. But it's a good one to see in theaters just for the full effect of that. What else do I have? Oh, so Galaxy Quest. I mentioned it before in the past, but I think they're moving away from their movie sequel and going straight to a TV series that would continue the story from the first one. And that's going to be, it looks like it's going to Paramount Plus. I think it's still in early talks, trying to get everything settled and everything situated with Paramount. But what do you think, going the TV series instead of the sequel, like movie?
I think when a movie, like when you're trying to do something in a single movie, you're obviously limiting what you can do and
Right.
your storytelling abilities. So I think it's smart if they are really going to go like the like a show route with something like this, where there's obviously, it's in the vein of Star Trek, and there's obviously a lot of stuff to explore if they want to. So yeah, it's very exciting, and I hope it really comes to fruition.
Yeah, and I do believe that most of the original cast would be coming back for this, but we'll have to see. Hopefully, it gets done in the next, within the next couple of years, because those original cast members are getting a little older, but that doesn't mean they can't make it into the series. But I would love to see it regardless, just to have them in and then have a couple fresh faces to revitalize that universe. But definitely going to be waiting to see any more further news on that.
All I'm gonna say is if Sigourney Weaver can be in the new Avatar, she better come back.
Yeah. She can't say no to this. I think. Yeah, I feel like it's an underrated movie, but it has its following.
Yeah,
I think it would be a huge success on a streaming service. So we have Adam Driver is now in final talks to play Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four in the MCU. I think it's pretty cool. I didn't know that he was even in talks for this role. I had heard a couple of other people. I know what's his name from You?
About Penn Badgley.
Penn Badgley, yes. I know he was in talks, so there's a lot of fan casting for him as well. I heard that there's rumors for him, but I had never heard of Adam Driver doing this, but I thought that's it's pretty cool of him to kind of jump into the MCU. He did 65, which I haven't seen yet. Still something I want to check out. I don't know if it's any good. I don't know if you've seen it or Ryan's seen it, but yeah, I'm definitely excited for this news if it does go get finalized and we get to see him as Reed Richards.
Yeah, again, I agree. I love Adam Driver, and I think that he really fits the bill for what that character needs to be. He's a lanky ass dude. So,
he is.
No, I have not seen 65. I haven't heard the greatest things about it, but
yeah.
Sometimes you got to just watch stuff for yourself, and you sometimes be surprised.
Yeah, that's true. Another bit of news we got for all you Twilight fans. I don't know if any of them will listen to this show, but we have a TV series that it looks like it is in early development at this moment. I don't know if any streaming service or network is attached to it right now, but that's happening. So we may be getting a show out of that. And I think with a book series, that does make more sense. Because I know, I don't think we really talked about it last week or the week before, but Harry Potter is kind of doing that as well. They're rebooting the entire series and spending one season per book. That's pretty bold as well for them to do that. And I'm pretty sure in Harry Potter's world and all the fans, they're going to have a lot to say with who gets casted as what. And that's going to be on HBO, the Harry Potter series. A lot of people are kind of worried about if it's going to be quote unquote too woke for and whatever that means. But I don't know. I'm here for it. Whatever happens, if it's crappy, they're going to scrap it after the first season. If it's good, I think it's the numbers that they think it will. Then then we'll get some more seasons. But I thought that was pretty interesting.
It is interesting. I think it's blatantly following the path of the Harry Potter stuff.
Yeah. It's funny because that news dropped maybe a couple of days after the Harry Potter news, and that was more quiet on my end, at least in terms of news. I had seen it because I follow a couple accounts, but yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. What else do I have? This one's for Ryan. I'm sure he already knows, but the Oakland Athletics have agreed to buy a strip of land near the Las Vegas Strip. So Oakland, yet again, is losing another team and moving to Las Vegas.
Whoa!
Yes. And now this is not going to happen. It looks like they're not going to be starting construction until 2027. So we have a couple of seasons with them in Oakland still. So I'll be able to enjoy that losing season. year after year for the next couple of seasons. Go Padres. I'm just kidding, Ryan. But yeah, it sucks. I would be heartbroken if the Padres left San Diego, as I was when the Chargers left San Diego. But I'm still a Chargers fan through and through, even though they broke my heart for a little bit. Heading to my last bit of news, the Russo brothers have announced that they are in the middle of working on the Gray Man 2 script. So yeah, I'm super stoked for this. I like the Gray Man, and I think I might be in the minority in that, on that end. So, we're getting a second one. And then there's a huge number of books that follow this character. So this could be a continuing, thing. You know, we could get a Gray Man 3, Gray Man 4, if, you know, if it's good, if Ryan Gosling's up for it. I know he's coming back for the second one. So, yeah, we may be getting a Gray Man 2 here in the next couple of years or a year or so. What do you think about that?
I like the movie. Of course, I'm a big champion of Ryan Gosling, and
Yes.
and you know, there's going to be a little how do you say, John Wick, there's going to be a little space in our hearts that's empty because, you know, the at least the current canon of John Wick seems to be they've told their story, so it makes sense,
Right,
that the Gray Man would fill that void for us, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And then my last bit of news, the Mandalorian has, whether you like it or not, has had a huge drop in viewership with this current season. I believe it's season 3. I just finished it. I think they said it lost about 25% of its viewership this season. A lot of people complaining that the story's kind of everywhere, not really cohesive. And they're kind of stepping away from the actual Mandalorian character. There's a lot of side characters that they're kind of diving into. But the season finale episode was amazing. Highly recommend you check out the new season if you can get through it. I had no problem with it. I enjoyed it pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. But yeah. Yeah, I thought that was just interesting that they kind of lost a lot of their views this last season. Maybe people are getting over Star Wars. I don't know, but yeah.
Is that why nobody seemed like super hyped over season 3?
I believe so. That's what I think. There's a lot of critics kind of giving it the not a really good review, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. If, like I've said before, if it's something you like, you know, check it out.
Yeah, stop being villains, everybody. Damn.
Right. Yeah. And that's my last bit of news.
All right. Before I jump into my my news for the week, I had a question for you.
Yeah.
Did you watch that Love is Blind reunion thing or whatever it was?
Oh my God, that was a shit show. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I watched Love is Blind with my wife, but I started watching it maybe like on season 2 because she was always watching it. And then I got kind of hooked into it. I'm kind of a sucker for those shows as well, but I always catch myself watching them with her on accident. But yeah, they were supposed to have a live reunion, and then it was delayed. It kept on like crashing basically. I want to say that they were not very ill-equipped or ill-prepared to deal with the amount of traffic I believe that Netflix was getting on that specific time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they ended up delaying it till the next day. So it was kind of shitty because we had kind of made a big thing out of it with our friends. So we all went over, we had a barbecue, and we were going to have a little viewing party, if you will. And that didn't happen. So we were just sitting sitting and staring at a blank Netflix screen for about hour and a half, waiting for it to turn on, and never did.
From what I heard, it did show up for some people, or some people were able to watch it.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. Yeah, some people were lucky enough to get into the live viewing or whatever it was. But yeah, for the most part, I think most people weren't. There was a handful of people that were able to kind of sneak in and do that. But yeah, and then even getting to watch it after everything it was kind of underwhelming, to say the least. I didn't think it was as good as it was. All the hype was built up to be. They have a lot of problems with the host too, Nick Lachey and his wife. I forget her name, but yeah, there's a lot of drama on social media with them too. A lot of people are petitioning to get them removed from the series. Asking a lot of the wife in particular, Nick Lachey's wife, was asking a lot of intrusive questions. Of course, she's the host; that's her job to do that. But I think she asked everybody a number of times who here is going to have a baby soon, which is really none of her business, her business. But yeah, she was like really insistent on trying to find out who's having a baby and who's not. After these people have only been married for like a month, so it's kind of a little intrusive, but that's her job, I guess.
What's funny to me is I feel like Netflix could have avoided all this if they would have just shot it ahead of time and then put it up.
Right.
As a special.
That's what they should have done. That's what everybody's saying. They should have done that and have it be like a 2-hour long special, whatever it was. But yeah, I think it could have been a lot better too. Given
yeah, the hype around
all the drama and everything around it. It was kind of a little lackluster, in my opinion. Some people might have thought it was really good. Me and Alyssa were kind of like, after we finished, we're like, oh, that's it. Like nothing was resolved. So, yeah, kind of a letdown, but excited for the next season if they have one.
I'm sure they'll be back.
Yeah.
All right, jumping into my news. Video game developers Gun Interactive recently tweeted that their new Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game will be available day one on the Xbox Game Pass, which is very exciting news for fans that own that console, obviously. You can also look for the game dropping August 18th, 2023, available for all consoles.
Nice. That's going to be a good one.
It should be. I mean, it looks fantastic. It is. it is. From what I've read, more of a kind of in the style of the new Evil Dead game, where it's kind of online multiplayer based.
Okay.
I'm hoping there is some kind of campaign, because that would be a real big missed opportunity if there's not.
Right.
But nonetheless, I'm very excited to step into the role of Leatherface.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Chucky Season 3 is already gearing up to start production next week. So they're going, they are really chugging along. I think Season 2 ended pretty recently. And I believe their viewership has remained steady. And that's awesome, because Chucky as a character is always, he's amazing, and Brad Dourif as a voice, I never want him to go away, so I'm glad.
Right.
It just feels right. Like, have him be around forever.
Give him that secret medicine to keep him alive, and
that's
for
right.
Another 100 years.
Yes. I'm going to talk about Evil Dead news. Bruce Campbell opened up earlier last week about the Evil Dead franchise, revealing that there are in fact 3 books of the dead within the franchise's ongoing universe, and went further, stating that they now plan to release new films every 2 to 3 years rather than every 10 or so. So exciting stuff there.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Nice. That's some good news.
Hell yeah. I know you're a big fan, right?
Yes.
And now it's time for the weekly recommendations.
So take it away, man. What have you watched recently?
All right. So I have watched Apple Plus film called Tetris. I think that's the title for it. I'm not sure if there's anything underneath that, but it is the story of how kind of Tetris made its way to Nintendo and Game Boy and stuff like that. The guy who basically risked his life to go to Russia to get the rights for this game. Very interesting story. It takes place in the 80s, so when Russia and basically think of Atomic Blonde, that type of scenario, but just a normal guy trying to go to Russia and deal with the KGB or whatever they are at that time, and get licensing for a game. We're going to a place where foreigners get arrested and sent to the gulag for 30 years or forever.
Wow. Okay.
Definitely a cool movie. An awesome soundtrack. Definitely plays on the 80s vibe. What's the guy's name from Kingsman? From the 1 and 2. The main kid. Kingsman.
Edgerton?
Edgerton, yeah. He plays the guy who kind of goes for Tetris, tries to get the rights for it and stuff like that. So check it out. It's a very, very cool movie. And then that's it for my one rec.
Awesome. And that is streaming on Apple, right?
Yes, okay. It is.
Awesome. That leads us into your question from the last segment. Yes. Evil Dead Rise is out, and I saw it last night.
Nice.
I think I went to like the second preview showing, and man, it is everything you could want. 100% no letdown, and it's an hour and 36 minutes I think is the runtime, and it moves, it is scary as hell, it is brutal as you could imagine.
Oh, nice.
The only thing I would say for you, James, is maybe don't
I already know what you're gonna say.
Yeah,
I could tell from the trailer that this was not one of those movies for me for to show with Jordan.
Yeah, because there is if you thought Halloween Ends was bad with the child violence, this is another level of child violence.
All right.
So maybe keep that on the docket for when he's a couple years older.
Yes.
But you, sir, have got to see this as soon as you can, hopefully on the big screen, because, oh man, what a masterpiece. I was very scared that they weren't going to be able to live up to the remake, Fede Alvarez's remake, right? But
yeah,
this tonally matches it completely. You can tell it's in the same universe, and they
I did have a question with that. Is it supposed to be a continuation of that kind of story, or is it in the same realm?
Well, that's in my news. Bruce Campbell said that the universes are all connected, so they're all in one. But there are different books. So So the book, obviously, I'm not going to spoil anything. But the book that is in Evil Dead Rise is separate from the other two. So the 80s and the remake. It's a different one that they stumble upon, if that makes sense.
Yes.
But all of these characters live within the same world. So in the future, anything is possible, is what I gather. Practical effects, amazing. Makeup, amazing. There's very little bad I have to say about it. Everyone out there, I'm hoping this is going to make money. It's good. It's very good. As a fan, they deliver what you want from a movie like this, you know?
Yeah.
So Evil Dead Rise, 2 thumbs up.
Oh, yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And now for the movie focus of the week.
All right, so this week we're talking about High Life. It's rated R. It's from 2018. It's a sci-fi art house flick. And it runs at 1 hour and 53 minutes. It's got a 82 on Rotten, which is very impressive. Written by Claire Denis and Jean Frigeau. Directed by Claire Denis. starring Robert Pattinson, Juliette Binoche, Mia Goth, Andre Benjamin, and Scarlett Lindsay. The film follows a crew of convicts who have been sent to space for scientific research regarding a black hole. As time passes by, the crew begin to unravel psychologically, causing chaos and panic aboard the ship. The film's creator, Claire Denis, had been trying to get the project off the ground for 15 years before finally being able to realize her vision with High Life, being the French director's English language debut flick. At first, having the late Philip Seymour Hoffman in mind for the role of Monty, Robert Pattinson's insistence paid off in the end, with the actor landing the lead role eventually. The film was shot in both Poland and Germany within the fall of 2017 and landed high praise from critics, but ultimately did very little at the box office, pulling in just $2 million against its $8 million budget. Overall, the film is very polarizing, with its choice to tell its story in a non-linear fashion, slow burning at times the way we expect from the now monster A24 studio. The film is a rough one to recommend because of how in the middle it tends to be. Hypersexuality and violence mixed with extremely quiet and atmospheric tones create a very strange experience that may not call you back often, but still delivers up enough entertainment to garner at least one viewing. Pattinson and Mia Goth are stellar as usual in their own rights, and we don't see Andre Benjamin on the big screen as much as I'd like. The Stuart Staples score is haunting and does bring some great tension and boldness to what is an otherwise understated but worthy piece of sci-fi cinema. I give this 3 out of 5 fuck boxes. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. Nice.
All right, James. Nice. I'm, of course, opening the floor to you. Outside of our boy Robert Pattinson, what draws you to this film, and what made you pick it for us to talk about tonight?
So I didn't know much about this. I had just read the kind of the synopsis of it, and that so that was all I had to go on it. I knew it was an A24 film. That's pretty much it was Robert Pattinson and the fact that it was another A24 film. I had never seen it before. Like I said, this is my first viewing and probably going to be my only viewing unless somewhere down the road I know someone that is like, oh, I've never seen High Life. Oh, let's put it on. But like you said in your little review, I couldn't agree more. This is probably a movie that you won't put on a regular rotation unless you're a sucker for these kinds of movies. Definitely is a slow burn, like you said. And throughout the film, more the early parts, when it's Monty and Willow when she's a baby, really had a kind of an overwhelming sense of dread. Especially when you see when it cuts to the outside picture of the spaceship, and it's kind of just that music that plays. It's very ominous, and for me, I just you get this feeling of like, oh man, like I said, dread. I don't know why. It's just that type of feeling. And the cast all around was pretty good. Like I totally agree with you. Andre 3000, Andre Benjamin. I had no idea that's what his name was. I was looking through the end credits, and I wanted to see. I'm like, oh, I want to see his name, just to see his name on the thing, and I had no idea. I was like, oh, maybe I missed his name because I was looking for the 3000 part. And I'm like, wait, hold on. I rewound. I'm like, there's an Andre right there, but it says Benjamin. Then I had to look it up. I'm like, holy shit, that's his name. All right. Shows how much of an Outkast fan I am. I do love Outkast, but I love him in this role, and I would love to see him in tons of more things. We've gotten little glimpses of his acting chops here and there, but yeah, I loved him in this. He was good for the 10 minutes of screen time, 15 minutes of screen time that we got of him. Mia Goth, I haven't seen much of her. I know you've seen her in a lot more than I have.
Mm-hmm.
I know you saw her in X, and
Pearl.
She is a different kind of person. Yeah. So
that's
I'm excited to see what she does now that I've seen something with her in. I've probably seen something else, but I'm not 100% sure. I know this is 100% for the most part. Well, probably the only thing I've seen her in. But yeah, I'm excited to see her in Blade now that she's a part of that universe.
Yeah, and then you've kind of seen what she's capable of.
Yeah, definitely we'll have to check out X because I know she's in that.
Yes.
And the prequel, sequel, whatever it is, that's I got to see that as well for that one. But yeah, I love the cast of this. For me, it's a fun one. It is a slow burn. It does take its time. I do like the jumps from present time to past, and kind of the monologue of throughout the film with Pattinson, kind of explaining what's going on. But yeah, this was a fun one for me. I where do you want to go from this? Have you seen this one before?
Yeah. So I went to see this when it dropped in theaters.
Okay, nice.
And I remember when I walked out of the theater, I wasn't sure what to make of it because it's a very kind of strange film. So when you picked this last week, I was under the impression that you had seen it and you were just a fan, but you picked this blind. So I can only imagine you watching it or getting halfway through it, and you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah, definitely. I see it. So I had seen like the first 5 minutes of it one time, I think when it first came out on streaming, and I was like, oh, I'm going to watch this. And I got to the first maybe like 5 minutes and I was like, oh, this is a different kind of movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only little bit that I had taste of of this movie that I got until yesterday. But yeah, this was definitely my first time full all the way through. Yeah. So, I mean, I think I felt the same way you did after finishing this, kind of like, oh, this was, what did I just watch? type of feeling.
Yeah. And you know, I honestly can say I think that was almost like that's the reaction that they want to get out of you. You know, it does feel very art house. It takes its time, and you know, the cinematography and the kind of bare bonesness of even the interior of the ship. It feels very nuanced. So I feel like it of course, when you get to the end of the film, it's going to leave viewers it's going to be a very divisive movie. People are either going to really love it and, you know, and they understand what it was trying to do or say. And then you're going to have the people that are like, oh my God, that was the most boring fucking thing ever put to film, you know? And do I think it's boring? No. Does it drag in a few spots here and there? Yes. But not to the point of turning it off, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And obviously, I think anything that Pattinson attaches himself to, he elevates it naturally without even trying, because
100%.
Yeah, we are in it for the long run because of him, right? And I don't know, there's something that's weird about this film and that you don't really see coming is the over sexualization that they start doing.
Yeah, that's what something was pretty interesting when I started to notice that happening. You started to see it kind of ramp up a little bit.
Yeah, because it goes from this very like almost like very innocent type of film where you know, they're in space, so you're not thinking they're going to be fucking like
they got a sex box
all over. That's the last thing that you think is going to happen, and then they go for it, and of course it's somewhat justified with the Dr. Dibbs, I think her name is on the ship.
Yes,
she is trying to procreate, and of course, like they don't allow the convicts aboard, the women and males, to procreate together. So they're trying to do this insemination stuff, which is also very kind of dark material because they're pretty much all on a suicide mission.
Right.
Because they've all, even including the doctor, they've all done something horrendous in their past, which has basically Earth has told them, if you stay on Earth, you're going to be on death row, and that's going to be the end of you. So then they take this, this task as a way to extend their lives. And I don't really know if it was a great choice for them to do this.
Yeah, right.
In the end. But going back to like the sex stuff, there is some very kind of disturbing stuff.
The scene with with Dibs, the doctor, when she goes in there, I'm trying to figure out what it was at first. I'm like, she goes into the room and I'm thinking, oh, this is like her office or something, like that's her sleeping quarters.
Yes.
And then I see like the metal device shooting up, and I'm like, okay, what is that? And then she puts a condom on it. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I see the handles on the hanging from the top. I'm like, what is going on? It reminded me very much. I don't know if you got this feeling, but when he was going in like slow motion, and it was only showing her back and like her hair kind of like becoming like a net across her body.
Mm-hmm.
Reminded me very much of The Witch for whatever reason.
Oh, okay.
Of that movie.
Yeah.
I was getting vibes of that. I don't know if it was just because it was kind of like a dark room, and then just you see her, her pale skin, and then the hair and everything, and then the sound that overlays that scene, that plays over that is very unsettling. And that's what I got from it. That feeling of, oh, this kind of reminds me of The Witch.
Well, you have to remember The Witch is A24, so there is like that kind of genre style that it makes total sense that you would connect those two together,
Yeah.
But yeah, the box is wild. Why did she have to put a condom on it? I don't understand.
Yeah.
I guess that thing is like for so that both male and females can go in there and relieve themselves, masturbate, because they're not allowed to like have intercourse with each other or whatever.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. And then of course it's pretty funny because they refer to Monty's character, or Pattinson, as a monk, because he is the only celibate person aboard. So he refuses to have sex. He doesn't do any of that. He is kind of on the straight and narrow. And Dibs, the doctor, who you think would be one of the good people aboard the ship, is anything but. She reveals that she killed her kids, and that I think that has a lot to do with her. How do you say, her obsession over procreation?
She has to have that baby. It's her only purpose.
Right. And and that kind of leads us into this really fucking one of the other male counterparts aboard the ship decides that he can't do it anymore, and he's going to have his way with one of the female convicts or inmates, however you want to see them. And it's Mia Goth, or
it's Boyce.
And yeah, there is I think he might have gotten away. He did rape her, maybe a little bit.
I think a little bit. Yeah.
And this guy gets very violent, and it feels very grounded, which is more disturbing watching this.
Mm-hmm.
Because he hits women and just, I don't know. It's hard to watch. But then of course our boy Monty, or Pattinson, comes in and whoops this guy's ass.
Oh my god, yeah.
Wails on him, right? And then
and
then the guy, the rapist, Pig, guy is brutally stabbed to death by one of the women.
Well deserved.
But then very soon after, Dibs drugs everybody, including Monty or Pattinson's character, and then she goes into his bunk and rapes him without his knowledge and steals his semen, inseminates boys, and that's how Willow is conceived. But this entire time, this entire voyage, this journey, right? Monty has no idea that Willow is actually his daughter. So there's a real kind of, like you said, existential dread there that, man, some of these characters do some really evil stuff with their intentions and their actions and everything that kind of lays out in front of you. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I don't know if like I said before, the earlier scenes with the baby, and every time I heard the baby cry or just the scenes with the kid, I'm like, oh my God, like I didn't want anything bad to happen. I'm thinking like, oh, what's going to happen? This is like this. I'm assuming this is going to be in the moment. I'm assuming it's going to be like a fucked up movie. So something's going to happen to this baby. I don't, the whole time I'm thinking that. And then even when the baby's born and Dibs is holding her and super happy and everything like that, I'm thinking, I don't know if it's like because I have kids, so I'm overly like worried about the child in this film, which is, it sounds funny to say that, but I'm like, oh my, I'm more invested because there's a child in there. And I think for me, that's part of the dread as well. Another layer on top of that.
Especially, it makes sense because of how, like we said in the beginning of the show, this film, its structure is non-linear. They're not telling the story in chronological order. So in the beginning, we kind of start the movie aboard the ship. Monty, or Pattinson's character, is fixing something on the exterior of the ship, and he comes back inside and we realize that he has a little girl. Out of context, we don't know what their relationship is yet. And then he basically goes into this, what looks like some cryostasis chamber, and he suits up all of these unconscious bodies. And before we know it, he is dumping them out into deep space.
Yeah.
Which is, I can 100% agree with you that dread, right? Just in that, in the few minutes, it really sets the tone for the rest of the film, and it doesn't really let up that kind of uncomfortableness that it's able to.
Yes, exactly.
To set. Because
and then you get Willow watching him on the monitor while he's dropping the bodies into space.
Oh man!
And he's talking to her through it.
And the way they do that lined up shot of the bodies drifting into space, and then that's when they do the crawl of the name of the flick is just, oh man, it's pretty gnarly.
And visually, those shots are visually amazing.
Yeah, it's almost like, wow, this is very like of course not quite on the level of Interstellar, but it has some notes of it for sure.
Yes,
as far as
very much so.
What it's able to do with not a super huge budget. It looks really good. Were you aware that they had like a consultant for like space and like black hole theories and everything? While shooting?
No way.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know that.
So there was some kind of like, how do you say, like science was a part of the production. It wasn't just like they just were like, fuck it, we're gonna do this.
Do what we want. I just want to know, was there any further details on the dog spaceship? I don't know. That's the only way to call it. If you watch the movie, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It was like a kennel, I guess, full of a spaceship full of dogs. I don't even know if there was people on there. There had to have been at some point, but that was interesting.
So from what I know, I believe I don't know why they did this to these dogs, if it was some kind of fucked up experiment. But they just send all of these strays into space without food or anything, or at least they ran out of food because they're just literally floating on forever. But when it's an identical ship to Monty's ship, right? So when they board and they find all these dogs, I think what we're meant to believe is that the surviving dogs have been able to stay alive because they're feeding on each other, essentially.
Yeah.
Again, which is very dark subject matter.
Yeah, and then you see the puppies, and it's then that adds another thing of like, oh my god, they have to take the puppies now. Like,
yeah,
they have to. And then he's like, no, we can't. And obviously, you understand why, because they're limited on things that they can do, and of course,
contamination.
It's another contamination, yeah, and it's another mouth to feed. He's thinking logically, and Willow, of course, is like, oh, I've always wanted a dog. I've seen him on the pictures and movies and stuff, but yeah, I love her way of talking. When Pattinson or Monty hears her say something, like, how do you know what cruel is? Like, because she says, like, oh, that's so cruel, like, to leave the dogs there. And then he even says, like, how do you know what cruel is? You've only, basically you've only known this spaceship, like this ship. You don't know anything else.
Yeah, it's almost like and I think that's what the movie grapples with as a whole is our humanity.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, and what we're capable of or what we're not capable of, and it does a really good job. And I feel like him questioning that is like, well, basically saying like, you haven't really lived, so how are you figuring this out? Like, this compassion that you're showing right now it was shocking to him, because I'm sure especially a big thing that we've left out is the reason why Monty or Pattinson's character is on the ship in the first place, or like a death row inmate, is because a friend of his, while they were younger, ended up killing his dog, his companion, and so he took action. He got a little John Wick. And he had to pay. He had real life consequences. So when they board that ship, I feel like that is the intention behind that, where it's like he has the chance to kind of get a dog back, or several dogs back into his life. Right. So it's very kind of layered and complicated emotions going on, and yeah.
What do you make of that ending? 'Cause maybe I'm just too damn dumb to get it. What are you seeing? What are you seeing yourself? Because I thought it was an interesting ending. Them flying into the going into the black hole. Because Willow says, Willow, for whatever reason, Willow has this intuition, I would say, that that their mission to go into the black hole will be different than the prior one with Boyce.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that, like it's less dense. Like if we go now, so whatever reason she believes that they'll make it, they'll survive, or at least they will be okay.
That's a good question. I think it's meant to be open-ended, similar to how like the movie that we covered was a couple years ago now, Sunshine, is kind of open-ended with its ending. Sci-fi is kind of notorious for doing this. I would like to think that they don't meet their end the way that Boyce does, where she just explodes.
Yeah.
Because of the gravity or whatever you want to call it. It's like spaghetti or something. Something that happens to Boyce or Mia Goth's character. I would like to think that either, because I think in the film at some point they do talk about this theory where if they enter the black hole, there's going to be some kind of slingshot effect that will eject them back out into space and they'll be fine. Something like that. So
to harness the power basically of the black hole.
Yes. So I would like to think that they get a happy ending, so they could try or maybe find like some other reality, because of course we don't know all too much about what black holes are really capable of.
Yeah.
Of course. And maybe they could like start re-inhabiting like another planet for all we know. It's hard to say. Realistically, it's very 50-50. Maybe they didn't make it.
Yeah. Because it goes into, you see them in their suits, the camera's kind of on Pattinson, and then you see him grab Willow's hand and kind of hold it as they're going in, and then it's a beautiful shot of the black hole.
Yes.
It looks amazing. And like you said, very similar to Interstellar, the visuals at least, it's almost identical. And then it cuts to, it kind of fades to black almost, and then it cuts to Pattinson out of his suit, and that bright orange light kind of emitting, I guess I'm assuming from in front of him somewhere, but they're not in the suit anymore, and you can see the light on his face, and he's like, oh, let's, I don't remember the exact words that he says at the end. He's like, oh, let's go, or something like that. I don't know, it was just odd to me, and I'm like, oh, am I missing something? Now they don't have their suits on, so they're obviously okay. They're somewhere.
So, do you have an opinion on that? Do you think that they made it to some like an alternate reality, or maybe they're in the afterlife? Maybe that represents the afterlife.
I had those two thoughts actually. That maybe they died, they're together now, but they're on another plane of existence. Or like you said, another reality. They were, when it starts to get into that, black hole space stuff, just like in Interstellar, it gets really weird, and your mind kind of doesn't know how to compute it.
Yeah.
So at least, and then how this ending, how we are shown the ending. So for me, it's like I don't know what to think. I like to think that they lived on, like you said, and they're fine and happy, but it's up for interpretation. It's up for however you think the film was meant to end.
It's very A24, you know.
Yes, very artsy, very and like we've said a number of times about A24 films, it may not be for everybody. Definitely not for everybody. There are those groups of people that love these types of films. I don't mind them. Like you said, I agree with you. There are times in this where there are, the slow burn is a little too much, but you're already invested at that point. So you soldier on, you keep going, and you get rewarded in the next scene or a couple minutes later. So it's not that bad. You get over it, and you're kind of, you're thrown back into whatever's happening in this film. But other than that, I think that's my only negative. I thought this was shot amazing, and then, like you said, the back and forth, the time jumps, you get to see the ship in its peak. It's clean. It's the structure. Everything is nice. There's no, nothing's messed up. But then when you get to Robert Pattinson's, when it's him and Willow, when Willow's a teenager, I'm assuming she's around probably 14, 13 or so. You see wires hanging, panels are hanging off of the ceiling or off of the wall. There's wires everywhere, stuff's leaking. You get to see that change in how, he's been trying to keep up the ship and keep it running and, doing what he can. But yeah, I loved everything about this. It's definitely entertaining. Like I said in the beginning, it's probably not a film I'm going to watch on a regular basis, maybe not ever again, if that, but, yeah, I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was a great movie. Very fun. Not fun, but very entertaining.
It is a very niche style.
Yeah.
But also you can tell that there is so much passion in this project that it's hard not to give it its credit, like 2001: A Space Odyssey. that is a fucking a masterpiece from Stanley Kubrick. But I'm not foaming at the mouth to watch it over and over and over again, all right? Because it's a lot to soak in, even if you've seen it before. You know, you're not like, yeah, let me pop this in again. You know, I'm bored.
That was fun. Let's do it again. Yeah.
It's an event. It's a spectacle, right? And and I feel like High Life is in its own right a spectacle film that is
very much so.
Mm-hmm.
Pattinson kills it in this. And I don't. Like you said, he has that on-screen presence that you know makes the movie what it is, and I think he does that in everything. Anything that he's a part of. So, yeah. Take that, Vic.
Oh, man. It's true. It's true. Pattinson is a force, man. And
people just, I don't know, they don't let the Twilight go. And that's what he's stuck with, unfortunately. But, I don't know, the people who are fans of him obviously know what he's capable of, like me and you, and I'm assuming Ryan. You know, Ryan is a big part of that group.
Yeah, yes.
Who definitely appreciate, you know, he's done Twilight, of course. That's where he, you know, like you said before, that was his stepping stone. He got, you know, that Hollywood name, and he's done everything he can to try to step away from that. And I think he's accomplished that. There are a couple of people who don't let that go, but I mean that's all right. But I think he is he's doing a great job in everything he does. Lighthouse was amazing, very weird, but amazing.
Yeah, yes, he has a knack for he's like, let me do this really fucking obscure movie, the most obscure edge of the earth story that I could do.
From what I heard, actually, I heard a podcast on Pattinson, specifically Good Times, and they were, I guess he had seen a poster for the what are their names, the brothers, Safdie brothers,
yes,
and and he had called them or got a hold of them somehow, and he said, "Hey, I want to do something with you." They're like, "Okay, like, what do you want to do?" And he's like, "Give me your weirdest shit, your weirdest thing you can think of, and I want to do that." So, and that's, I think, you know, it's part of that's how they got a hold of him for a Good Time. But yeah, I think he's really into these challenging roles, and I'm not saying that this is a challenging role, but it's definitely a great role for him. It's not. It's a good one. I put it up there with some of his better ones.
Yeah, and I feel like when you watch it and you see him in his role of Monty, it makes sense that it's him, you know? You don't question it, or you don't think that he's out of his element. It's 100%. You're like, this was made for him. He was meant to do this, you know? This movie, if that makes sense at all.
Oh yeah, perfect sense.
What would you give this as far as a rating, High Life?
I'd have to go with you. I think the 3 out of 5 is a solid rating. Definitely a film that it's worth watching. And giving it a 3 is no a dig on it or anything. It's a good one to watch. Definitely, like we've said numerous times in this. It's a spectacle, like you said.
Especially if you're really big into the later Pattinson work, this is a must.
Yes. Yeah.
This is a must.
Definitely.
I do have a little, you might know this already, but I'm going to say it anyway. I do have a swan fact that I thought was pretty interesting. So during the production, right, they brought several babies for Willow, and none of them liked Robert Pattinson. They didn't get along. They didn't get along good on set, so there was no chemistry, and they were struggling with what to do. So Pattinson, being the genius that he is, he cast, or he helped get his goddaughter cast.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
When you see like their interactions and stuff, it's very natural and very there's an understanding there, and it's amazing that they got, especially because the baby has obviously no experience whatsoever, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And so photogenic.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, she was great. In any, in those scenes that she was in, it was amazing. She did a great job. Like you said, she can't really be directed, so it's kind of more on. I would say it's more on Pattinson to kind of guide her and direct her in their interactions and stuff. But that was she was great in it. Yeah. And I think you can obviously see the chemistry in them. She was definitely comfortable with Pattinson, obviously.
Yeah.
And don't forget that to check out the song that Willow. I think the song is called Willow. That Pattinson actually sings for the movie.
It's that's how they close them. It's the closing credits is him, right?
Yes,
singing.
Yes.
I did listen to, of course, for the show, I try to dive as deep as I can, so I was listening to the soundtrack isolated to get in the mood for the episode. So, yeah, I did. Yeah. I listened to that track, obviously, in the film upon viewing, and then isolated, and I was like, man, this guy... And it sounds like he's not... Of course, he sounds good, but it sounds like he just sounds great, and he's not even trying.
Yeah.
While he's singing, like... It sounds like he's like, yeah, this is just another Tuesday for me. No big deal.
Yeah.
I'm multifaceted. Yeah. I could do it all right. Check out High Life if you haven't. I'm assuming you probably have at least once in your life if you've gotten this far in this episode. And if not, if you just are a fan of listening to podcasts about movies or movie reviews specifically, check out the real movie, High Life. It's streaming now on Showtime. Next week is the end of the month takeover with our boy Chris Pollock coming back. And we're going to talk about a very super, and he's very good at this too, at always bringing up super obscure movies, and this is no exception. So for the month of we're in April, right? Still?
Yes.
I'm falling I'm losing touch of reality, bro. Yes.
This is working too much.
Yeah. So it's the end of April, which means Chris is coming back for his end of the month takeover, and we're going to be talking about a little film called The Grifters, which is also based on a book. So I'm excited.
John Cusack?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
So James.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell all these lovely people out here what we do and where they can find us?
All right. So we are Drop the Mic. We are a San Diego-based podcast, and we post weekly episodes. And we are available on pretty much every single platform that does play podcasts. If it plays a podcast, I'd say 99% sure that we're on that platform. And if you enjoyed this episode, give us a 5 stars, a thumbs up, a positive review if you have the time. It only takes a couple of seconds just to say something on there. And it does help us out. And if you think that someone you may know would like this episode or the previous episodes that we have a huge catalog going back 300 plus episodes, I believe. They can check those out as well. Share us with your friends, family, and coworkers. And we have an Instagram that me and Wesley are both attached to. That is at @dropthemic_podcast, and a Twitter that you can reach us at as well. It is at @dropthemicpod.
Yes.
And Wesley and I are both attached to the Instagram, like I said, and Wesley kind of runs that Twitter. And you can comment on either of those. Follow us on both of them if you can, if you'd like to. We'd appreciate that. And you can always DM us or write on our weekly posts on Instagram or Twitter, and tell us what you thought of the episode. If you liked it, if you hated it, the constructive criticism is always welcomed. and let us know on about a film that we haven't reviewed, or if you want us to, like I said, review a film that is your favorite, and or if you want to be a guest, like Wes has said before, we can always try to patch you in, or something like that. Or if you just want to pick a episode, we can do that. Either way works. And yeah, be on the lookout for our new stickers that we have coming out, our Scream inspired stuff.
Yes, exactly. Yes,
pins, hopefully in the work. I know we're going to be, or you at least, will be holding the fort down in LA. Is that where it was? If you have the information on that, you can get it out now, so we can kind of plug that.
Anaheim. It is the Rot Pop Subculture Swap Meet will be taking place Friday, May 12th in Anaheim, California. It's going to be a free event, all ages, and it's going to feature comic creators, vendors, food, giveaways, and more. The event will be running from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. And the address is Ebell Club of Anaheim, 226 North Helena Street.
Go check that out. Go check our little table out, and hopefully see something nice that you like.
Yeah, we're gonna have a few new designs out, as well as some of our more vintage stuff. So
yes,
yeah, come out, support. If you're in the area, if you listen and you're in the LA area, please come and visit us. And there's going to be tons of other vendors and cool shit happening, so check it out. Rot Pop. Again, go check out High Life. Go check out Robert Pattinson's entire filmography.
Yeah.
Even the Twilight films, even Harry Potter, he dies, whatever. It's
he's in one of them, check it out.
Yeah. This was a lot of fun, James. Thank you for hopping on and helping me continue the show. Ryan's a busy guy sometimes as well, so
yes.
We miss him. But also, I'm glad that you were able to hop on this week and still come through for your episode. So much appreciated, sir.
Yes.
So until next week, you guys can all welcome Chris Pollock to the show. We're going to be talking about the Grifters, and we hope you join us for a very underappreciated film review for the Grifters.
Yeah.
So until next week, this is James Warny, Wesley Swanson signing off, saying good fight and good night.
We had to begin the deceleration maneuver so the ship could approach a black hole. This is the main goal of our mission. To check if we could capture a black hole's rotating energy.
Are you sick? Do I look like my mother?
Special.